says going live.
Host.
All right.
Well, to set up the host.
So I guess that's cool. All right, you can go do that before we start then, because that would be freaking epic. I ask you a question, you just walk away like, where did he go? Yeah.
Oh, there it is. Hey, there you are. Yeah, I can hear you. Let me.
Yay! You can see me. Can you hear me?
Let's see if that does it.
Awesome.
All right. Yeah, because my chat is huge.
Yay! It said that you're hosting. Woo! I'm big time now.
I'll go half volume on you off of that. All right, talk now. Let's see how it hears.
All right, check mic check 1 2 1 2 mic check 1 2 1 2.
See the chat.
All right, that's good.
Since the computer's, I mean, you can see this where I'm sitting to where that is.
That's
so
cool. All right. Yeah, it's obvious. All right. Oh, wow. It doesn't even let me know. The old school Xbox 360 wireless. What is up your face? Hello, everyone. It is Tuesday night. It's exciting. It's yet again another episode of Gaming with Friends, where I introduce someone in my life that I've either met through gaming or my friendship has grown stronger through gaming. And I feel special and very honored to have this guest tonight. His name is Mr. Mike Lukanoff, our Mixer Tuna, the champ, 3 times back to back. Back to back to back, yes. It's nonstop. It's crazy. Now, typically on my show, what I do is I have the guests tell me about them remembering meeting me.
So,
do you recall meeting with me?
To give a short story version of it, 2011, Iron Man of Gaming at the Hampton at the Coliseum there. They hosted in Virginia, and which is very close to where I'm at. It's about a 20-30 minute drive from where I'm at. And so me and my friend Adam, both fans of Screw Attack, but obviously with it normally being out of state in Texas, never convenient for us, but just so happens that it lands in Virginia in our backyard, so we got to go. So we end up training up. We go there. We don't know anybody there other than the people from Screw Attack. Actually, I end up. No, I don't think there was anybody real else. We met obviously a handful of people, and I'd only followed Screw Attack for so much. I knew of the Iron Man of Gaming tournament, but I never followed the results of it because I didn't really know any of the people involved. And so we're there, we're playing the first day, which is a 3-game, single attempt, single player, score based, you're in, you're out, 10 minutes, churn through system. And as the day kind of wanes on, you see people kind of hanging out in the room, chatting it up. Some people definitely know each other, some people don't. And then eventually you kind of overhear what some people are saying. And some people are kind of pointing at this one guy, saying, there's a previous champ there. He's here to. I think Chad might have even mentioned to me first that one of the previous champs was there. I'm like, oh, okay, and I'm never heard of the guy.
Thanks.
Yeah, he was on a TV show. I'm like, yeah, I got nothing. And then so that was day one. I didn't actually interact with you at any point during that day. Mm-hmm. For the most part, I was pretty much kind of keeping to myself with Adam. I kind of bugged Craig a little bit about the Bubsy thing, which I don't know if you were in the room when we did that or not. And it wasn't really till day 2 when first game was Call of Duty, and second round we finally got paired into the same group, and then we finished first and second, and I don't know who he was because he was never at any of the other ones. But you had like basically your backup mic guy who was doing a lot of your uh, camera work slash hype man. I guess hype man's a good word for it.
Oh, talking about John Gold.
There you go. I mean, he was. That's exactly what he was. Because I mean, I didn't really hear you talk as much, but I certainly was hearing him a lot. Not in a negative way, but it was obviously like, okay, this guy's got a hype man, and so I'm playing on my side, and you can see the video. There's a video on YouTube of this one, which is fantastic, um, and it's from your camera's point of view, which is even better for my sake because I get to relive this over and over. Um, it was on Nuketown, and that was like the one level that I felt the most confident with. And you basically had where he calls out real early in the match, and I don't know how it happened, but apparently the station I sat down to, my character's name was Mike, like in the character for whatever reason, and obviously my name's Mike too, so that was odd. Um, and so every time, for some reason, I kept finding you and killing you, and your hype man kept on going off on how I had your number, and then eventually you got me like maybe a few times in there as well, and then there was some good outbursts there, and it was a nice little verbal trade off. I don't even remember if I even said anything out loud. I might have, but I doubt it. But that was, I guess, my first interaction, one of probably our very few and only competitive interactions outside of Tetris Attack. But that was probably about it, and that was my first memory of Jamal outside of guy wandering around with some fame that I didn't know, slash somebody I got to play, and we ended up both proceeding through Nuketown, and then we got to the next level, which I don't remember the name of it, but it was me and Nico. I just edged you out like at the very last second, which that video can be found as well, and also a very good match.
So I do.
Short story.
Yeah, short story, but I do recall in the first day when you guys played, I actually was watching you, both of you, and I was kind of frustrated because if I knew you guys were coming, I knew I would have practiced a little bit harder. I thought coming to the East Coast there wasn't going to be any serious competition, and when I saw you guys play Pac-Man, I was like, these guys actually work together. You guys were kind of like Josh and I were the previous, or in 2009 and 2010 when we practiced together. Yes. And figured stuff out. And then I do recall that Call of Duty thing, but I want to clarify something. My hype man really isn't a hype man. He's he's bad at games and he wants to be involved in things, but he loves seeing me suck and get beat. So he might have been hyper, but he loves calling me out and making me look bad. So he's definitely John Gold, and he just enjoys being part of someone else's life. But that last match that we did play, I remember in the Call of Duty I was like ahead. I was so excited, and then like literally at the end of the last 2 minutes, you just took me out, and you won. I was so frustrated because that could have made. I don't think it would have made an overall difference in the end of the tournament results, but it might have propelled me to guarantee me the final home stand. I just don't remember how that tournament worked out because I remember it ended up being Rayman, and.
Yeah.
I ended up just losing my first round. It's tough when you're head-to-head single elimination. You never know what's going to happen, you know?
I also lost my first round in Rayman as well.
But you had such a significant lead that it didn't matter.
They didn't announce the scores like at any point really outside of the first day. So I honestly had no clue how good of a lead I had going into the last day. So I don't know if Adam ended up finishing second in Rayman,
right?
And he was behind me. I don't know if he would have finished first if it would have
made a difference.
Made the difference, or another interesting point was me and Adam played the finals of Wayne Gretzky hockey, which would have been a 20 or 40 point switch since I beat him. If he would have beat me, then that could have made the difference too. But I mean, still, yeah, every point matters for the most part. And
Yeah, it's definitely in a tournament where when you get first place, you get you get 40 more points than someone else. And then basically it goes. I think only the top 5 people really get any significant amount of points, and after that it just plummets to like nothingness. So it's
yes,
very key to win those titles. But if the tournament had 100 competitors, it would really change the face of how the tournament turns out, because you'd have some people that would be like only good at one game and would take those 100 points, and then I think it would balance out the whole competition per se.
2013 they had over 100 because I believe I was number 100.
Oh, look at you!
Yes, I still have the wristband.
But
As
I just wonder if how many of those were actually serious competitors, because every year I feel like the number of serious competitors grows. Uh, but some other people just try just to try, or they see a game that they like and they're like, oh, let me do it for this game, you know?
Yeah, 2011 had a lot of that. You had Nico, who was very good at Call of Duty. He ended up winning that, but he suffered all through a lot of the other stuff. You had the one guy who was really good at Mortal
Mortal Kombat.
Kombat,
Yep.
and like he just showed up for that, and I think he like missed the Call of Duty altogether.
Right.
Um, but I mean, it's tough to. A lot of people will enter because they see at least one game they really like, and a lot of times, I mean, the main reason I jumped in the first year in 2011 that I did it was because they had Pac-Man, and like I had to play because of Pac-Man. If that was no other reason why I was going to go there, not having a clue how good I would do overall, but that was like okay. I know a lot of these other games. Some of them I hadn't played. Like I hadn't ever really played Bubsy. I had given up on multiplayer first-person shooters a while back before that, so I technically never played any Black Ops multiplayer before training. Um, and what was the other one?
What
Yeah,
happened?
Mortal Kombat. I played some of that, but it's no secret how good I am at fighting games. So,
Right.
uh,
Go back. I don't remember what year that is, but Killer Instinct, you must have been shaking in your boots coming
oh
down to
yeah,
that.
oh man, I would love to. I've thought about, and I'll throw this out there, but I've thought about the idea of creating a panel just to talk about uh, that overall scenario of how 2013 played out, and yeah, it was. I've watched that video obviously probably more times than most anybody, but like I know what's going on in my head there, and it is completely different as to what you're probably actually seeing, and like I'm not walking up there like a winner.
Right.
I know the truth.
And I felt like at that time I really thought that because Josh was still somewhat close until he bombed in Ducktales, but I thought for sure, I was like, dude, Mike, I don't know if Mike's gonna win it, and I think that actually played into a lot of your reaction of after you won, uh, the just the level of it was the sincerity of winning, the tears that came from after the win. That was a great moment in Iron Man of gaming history. I think that moment alone actually saved the Iron Man for one more year. Uh,
It I would agree. It was too good of like you couldn't write an ending like that. That's like the kind of thing you'd see in a movie, as
right.
far as just how it came down to the wire. And Eric, I don't know. I'm gonna throw that out there. I'm pretty sure I've probably watched it more times than you have, because yeah, yeah. But it
So
would be close.
all right. So we're going to talk another thing about that. A lot of people want to know. I don't know if a lot of people, but the people that are in this room. Oh, he's leaving. 1 second.
Oh, you're good. I'm here.
All right. So that was the first year, kind of like there was more of an interaction beyond just the competitive standpoint. We actually invited you back to the room, and that was the year you were somewhat hesitant to come back to the room. For whatever reason, you thought we were going to steal strategies and what else. But I think after that, we kind of made a great connection up in the room, and we all grew closer. But what was the feeling when we approached you and invited you up to the room? What did you think, like at that
That's
time?
That is an excellent question, because that was extremely strategic as far as like exactly how If you come up to me, like I'm not stupid. I'm well aware of who you guys are going into 2013, um, more so than you guys knew who I was.
Right.
Um, I came down. I was number 100 for a reason, as well, because uh, one, took as much time to be upstairs and kind of run through practice before I went down and made my actual run for day one. But also was hoping it wouldn't be like, and it ended up not working out that way, because it's like you get down there, you're all hyped up, you're like, okay, let's do it, and then okay, here's my $10. All right, go stand this line. Oh. And then you stand the line for like half an hour, and it's like, okay, you're sapping all the hype that I had built up to like go down there and just make it happen. And then, but I'm standing in line. It's taking a little while. I notice a lot of familiar faces and standing in a circle, talking to each other. And I don't know if like you kind of like point like, yeah, that's that guy. And I was standing next to um, Kevin Ibe,
Yeah. Right.
and chatted him up, not knowing how much of a serious competitor he was at the same time. And that was a nice little chat we had as well. It was nice to kind of be able to meet him, and then it kind of brought me down to a more chill level at that point. But then I go finally run my set, and I didn't realize that at the time, because I'm trying to stay focused, is more or less, and to my knowledge, you pretty much were all watching everything I was doing from the doorway, which was the complete opposite of what I was attempting to have happen by kind of delaying myself and going later. But I mean, it was more or less irrelevant, but it was, I found that interesting. So anyway, afterwards, because after I was done, there might have been one or two more people actually left at all. And so you hit me up standing in the hallway. I'm there with a friend of mine, who wasn't in the competition, but it went down there with me to just allow me to be there with somebody, since Adam couldn't make it that year. And you guys basically were like, we're gonna go practice NBA Jam, but we only have one controller, and makes it kind of hard to actually practice NBA Jam if you have one controller. So if I'm gonna go, and I had an extra controller on me, so if I'm gonna go meet up with you, bring the controller and hang at the same time, it's not so much that I was concerned about you seeing me play or anything like that, because obviously I did not play the entire time I was there. But and neither did Ryan. I'll point that out. And he played as coy as I did too, because that was. It's not like he was joking around either. Which anybody who saw that matchup is well aware of the seriousness that game was.
Yeah. Too bad that wasn't recorded.
Terrible, best game ever. So yeah, it was kind of like on the fly. Do I go the friendly route and bring these guys controller, even though it just means they're gonna technically get a little bit better, but sacrifice that for making friends and kind of like going for that side of things? Or do I be ultra douche about it and just be like, no, that's cool, but I'll go back to my room instead with my controller alone? So obviously I didn't take that solo path. Came up, hung out for a while, chatted up. I mean, obviously anybody who's playing video games can usually get along with other people playing video games. I'm no different in that sense. So it doesn't take rocket science for you to find something in common, even though I'm kind of the odd man out, since I'm more or less coming into a ready created group of friends that have been doing this for a little while and have known each other for a while. And I'm also like, I'm the nobody that showed up and is kind of trying to take over, which you never know how well that's going to be accepted.
Right.
Not that I have any malice or like intent of trying to take anything over. I'm just there to play games.
No, that's.
I don't want to be a
fun.
scrub.
No, that's.
So.
I'm glad. I'm definitely glad that you came. But one of the reasons why we were watching you was because after you won the first year in Virginia, I took so much grief from everyone else from Texas, Chris Gold, Ryan. They're like, you lost to these bums, and I kept trying to tell them that you're actually a really, really good, dedicated gamer, and they did not believe me. I was like, dude, you got to watch, you got to watch. And I think it took you those first day games, coming out and participating and doing really well, that they finally backed off and realized that, hey, Mike is a serious competitor.
It's the biggest thing I was proud of, and I'll tell you, in that first day was one. First of all, my friend, he recorded all my first day stuff, and he lost the footage, which sucked. But my Sonic run was decent, good enough, not what I wanted. My Mario Kart run, I don't know what everybody else was doing. I was shocked.
You were the only one who used Bowser. I didn't think
No,
that I
I
wanted to
used
train.
Donkey Kong.
Or
I'm a Donkey Kong player.
Yeah, I mean, you
And
used the big fast character. I didn't want to take that risk because one screw up in that game. I always take the approach of just play to not make a mistake because you only have one shot, and I've screwed up many a times because I've tried to take a risk.
true. The only thing is, I've been playing Donkey Kong since like 1994.
Right.
So me and Donkey Kong, we go way back, and I use them through all Mario Karts. But so I mean, I'm ultra familiar with Donkey Kong. Plus, I know if I make a mistake with Donkey Kong, like literally, I tested it out with other racers that have more control, and I could probably make 2 or 3 mistakes with Donkey Kong before I could even get to the best time you could get with a flawless other person run. And you tried to record most of East Gold's Bowser run. I never got to see where he ended up, but yeah, he did not represent the Bowser Nation.
The Bowser. Or the Gold Nation. Or maybe
Or,
he did
uh, yeah,
represent it well.
but the thing with the thing I remember about the Mario Kart run was I did Donkey Kong, and I biffed it on the start because it was tough to hear. But after that, it was flawless. Like I didn't hit a single wall. I'm like, that's exactly what I was hoping for. And for that, I was like, awesome. That was that feel good moment where things are going the way that you were hoping they would go, so you don't just kind of finish day one and just feel like a total mess. And then Tetris, as random as it was, I was just happy to get a representable score. So, yeah, that was my it's my remembrance of that day one. Nothing. I don't even know if anybody asked, but there you go.
All right. So everyone that's tuning in, I don't know if you guys know what the Iron Man of Gaming is, but basically it's the ultimate tournament when it takes a person and they have to prove themselves in the ability to excel in not just one genre but multiple genres, and not just in the new games, but it goes all the way back to old school to new school. And I was a former champion, and there's been how many? I don't even know how many. Six. There's been at least 8 years Iron Man of Gaming. And Mike has done something that very few champions have done in any other competitive environment. He has managed to win 3 titles, but not just 3 titles sparse throughout years. He did it back to back to back. So he had people gunning for him. After his first win, he had people gunning for him 2 times to take his title away. Now, when you do something and you achieve that, how does that feel?
Well, feel free to cut to a video clip of the end of 2013. That's how it feels. Um, I mean, I had no idea that I was going to be able to pull it off a second time. It feels really good, especially 2013, because I mean, there's 2 reasons behind it. One, and we all were under the concept that it was going to be the last year. So I had to make a decision. Do I go and compete in 2013, go all the way out to Texas, get a room for the weekend, basically spend the months of training ahead of time and dedication towards it to make sure that I'm not going to waste the effort of going out there to do it, and end up finding out that as soon as I get pitted up against a much larger group of serious competitors, that the title, like, it could go 2 ways. One, I could prove that my win in 2011 was uh, a solid victory and I earned it. Pib extra, excellent, Mr. Pibb.
Mr. Pibb.
And or I could go out there, just fail completely in day one, and not only like feel bad about like spending all that time and effort and failing, but then end up feeling like what I accomplished in 2011 was more of a fluke and had to do more with the group of people, the fact that there wasn't as much serious competition as there could be. So it could have been like a huge gain or a massive loss.
Right.
And having to make that decision to commit to it one way or the other was not easy. And made it like that much more satisfying that even after just day one, like I felt like uh, what I went out there to accomplish had been accomplished. And that even if I won or lost beyond that point, I'd felt like, okay, I represented what someone who won should look like. Someone that is going out there to try shows that he's trying, and can actually be lucky slash good enough to pull it off at the time that he needs it to happen.
So you just didn't want to be a one-hit wonder. You wanted to prove yourself,
Exactly.
and what you did, obviously, by winning title after title after title. Now, for everyone in here, can you show them? This is one thing I am jealous about that you have that I don't have, or neither
No,
of us in
no
our class.
one has. Nobody got to keep theirs. Everybody else got cool prizes.
Look at these belts that he has. These are amazing. And what I do also like is he has the games that were competed in at the tournaments in the little display. That is badass. I applaud you for having that, and I am jealous. I don't get jealous very often, but I am jealous. 3 belts, Iron Man of gaming, and if you can show people your amiibos, you just be proud.
I have no shame in them.
You have
It's
no shame. Yes,
no.
those belts are amazing. Mike is a fantastic gamer. He did. It takes a lot of work to compete in Iron Man of gaming. You don't get too much heads up on the actual games that you get to play, or the time frame and the rules, and you have life to balance plus gaming and practice. There's a lot of serious people that come out and compete in these events, and Mike is the top of the top. Right now, he is a current champion that holds a belt. We're all dreaming and hoping that they do another tournament. But if you if they were to have another tournament, are there any changes that you would make yourself to make it better, or what would get you to want to compete again?
Wanting to compete again is going to be a tough decision to make if and when another tournament is created in its own self. Just because, I mean, for those who have spent the time and dedicated to put into it, those are the people that understand how much effort it really does take, and um, it is a lot of commitment. It's a lot to go through, mentally and physically, just for that whole weekend, and all the time leading up to it. So, like, I was like pleased when it was done in 2014, so I just wouldn't have to go through it again. Because at this point, it's kind of like, do I enjoy it? Some parts I enjoy, some parts are terrifying. Um, so,
But
but
it's exhilarating,
so
like the rush when you get up on the stage and you're competing. Isn't it like I know how you felt going up there to compete in Killer Instinct. I actually don't know how you felt, but going up there, I don't think any other life experience matches that buzz that you get from doing that.
no, I mean, most definitely. I mean, that is awesome. It can't be like, I'm way happy that I made the decision to go and do it all 3 times. I mean, so much so I was more than proud to go there 2015, even though they didn't have the Ironman tournament, but to be there just to represent, wear the belt, because people still recognize the tournament. They still recognize the belt, um, even if the tournament isn't going on.
Right.
Fans of the website are aware of what that the tournament exists.
Right.
So, but do I look forward to the anxiety, no. Will I do it again? I mean, more than likely, I would go back for another time. Some of it always comes down to I want to feel like if I'm going to go, I don't want to do it unless I feel like I actually stand a chance.
Right.
If all the games are announced and like I'm like, there's no way in hell I'll be able to do any good. Which, in all honesty, I felt that way in 2014, because not a lot of those were my game of choice, but that just means you got to try that much harder. Um, and would it happen again? Yeah, I'm sure I can't not be there. It'd be a little weird at this point if I didn't try to make an appearance. And I'm sure more people would be disappointed if I didn't put in the full effort and give you guys, the full me, and
Yeah,
making sure that
the chance to take the title away.
if you lose to me and I don't really give it my all, do you? I feel like I'm robbing you of feeling like you won it.
No, that's definitely true, and I I know how that is. Like, say for instance, like I won the tournament, and I didn't think I even had to try the next year. It's like, am I really putting my all to win it again? Because after you win that's why I was wondering. It seems so strong. It seems so weird to me that you actually were able to do it 3 times in a row after you had already won. And you already proven yourself. Do you really have to put that much time? Because it's a lot of time to invest in practice, and that's no joke.
I mean, there's not really outside of Killer Instinct and its rare occurrence. Which, if anybody actually saw the performance of 2014 Mike Lukonoff Killer Instinct battle, you'd realize, once someone actually had time with that game, what happens to me. But they're all different games. So even going year to year, it's not like the stuff that you can take with you is only the stuff you've managed to play within your lifetime going into it. Other than that, like, there's no way if you don't play fighting games, it's not like I can learn the lifestyle and mechanics of fighting games that carry over into all fighting games and make it really kill it. So I know where my efforts are best applied, but I guess going back to your original question, what would I change? It's as good as it would be to give it more limelight. Finding a way to make it. What made it so awesome in 2013 was partial happenstance and the fact that Craig was able to procure 2 excellent games for a final that really kind of set the stage. And it just so happened that things worked out in a way that it took that and took it to its own level to make it that much more interesting, to really show the potential of what you can get out of it if things kind of go that way.
Right.
And keeping the audience enthralled to the point where they were excited about it. And it kind of made that for them. It would be kind of a struggle to know if you really threw a lot more people at it. The big question is, you could throw a bunch of people at it, but realistically, the people that you need aren't your everyday people. Well, I mean, it kind of is your everyday people, but it's not the kind of people that you normally have that compete in tournaments. You need people like me, where I don't go out to try to compete. I'm a guy that's just played a bunch of games his whole life. Mm-hmm. And then you get a tournament like this where all of a sudden, hey, did you play a bunch of different games and you're good at platformers and you like all that stuff that no one ever has competitions on? And Wayne Gretzky hockey just might be in there, and Pac-Man and Bubsy for unknown reasons. Hey, we got the tournament for you. So finding those people that would actually, because what you do if you expand it is you just get more people that are good at one thing, and it spreads the points out to where you still have a lot of spikes, and single people who are good will move on, and then you still have the people who are good at everything sitting at the top, which it's by no means a coincidence that you'd see still the same 8 to 12 to 16 people hanging out near the top every year.
Right.
So as much as you want to expand, promote, the type of people, it would be hard to find the type of people that would really do well. And not to say that most gamers are really good and would do well, but like you can use Darkside Phil as a good example. Um, he's someone that's uh, well known in good parts of the gaming community. Which every time I ever, when I gave the story, I've told the story of 2013 to a couple of my friends who didn't know anything about it, and every time I brought up Darkside Phil, they're like, "Oh yeah, I know who that is." I'm like, "I've never heard of this guy. I didn't even know he was a thing like before the tournament." But
Right.
I'm not the kind of person that's probably watching as much to know that. Uh, but you need someone who's good at so much a variety of stuff to be able to make it to the end. And those type of people aren't generally your competitive people. Add on the fact that if you even are that type of person, you also have to be the type of person that's crazy enough to commit to practicing as much as it takes to be able to do good at that. And on top, you have to realize it's not just, yeah, I can do really good once. You gotta look at it in a different way. You gotta think about how uh, it's not just good enough to figure out how to, you know, Burnout 3, crash mode. You know, yeah, you can rock a million maybe once and every so often, but to try to dissect exactly how to make it happen more often than not, and then have a backup contingency plan, and actually take it way beyond what some rational person, sane person would think that they should look into that as. It's going to take that kind of person that's going to show up in day three anyway, and it's going to be tough for them to find those people because fewer of those people exist than there are someone who can focus and do really good at one thing. Um, so I'd be interested. I mean, it'd be interesting to see how many of those people would fall through the gaps. I mean, they would do great. They'd pick up their 100 points, no problem. And if you have enough of them good at that, they would split that 100 points down, and then people like me would get less points in that game. But I'll make it up in other areas
Right.
where I can still make it through, and they'll end up still having less. So it diversify the points, make it kind of more interesting, but at the same time, not really represent them for what they're the best at.
Right. Now, what if it was more, since you said there's like a small group of people, what if you made it like a World Series of Poker, one of the smaller events where you just take the top 16 and it's just a tournament between them? So you're getting the best of the best and it's competing on that high of a level, and then essentially it should break down to where we're all very close and it almost goes into the last two games where everyone has a chance of winning.
I mean, it would kind of works its way into that anyway.
Hmm.
One nice thing about it is uh, the fact that it is or has been open to the public makes it just have that extra bit of accessibility because you have plenty of people that just join in anyway, still have a good time playing the games in day one. It's exciting for the ones that can make it into day two because they kill it on one thing in particular, and a lot of times that's all you need, and even sometimes just less. Filter through into day two, and it adds a little bit of an extra element to it where it doesn't kind of shield it behind something. It just having it more open to the public is a nice little thing,
Right.
uh, because at the end of the day, it'll get to where it's going to be like that anyway.
Right.
So it doesn't shield people away, and uh, because at the end of the, you think about it this way, the people that end up getting to see the most content are those people that make the decision to go into that room and be a part of it. I mean, day two, the top 32 people are the people that'll actually see all of the day two stuff,
Right.
and the people who aren't in the top 32 don't really get to see it. Um, so it's kind of like, yeah, it's nice that if you did make it there, that you kind of get to be a part of that, because even each of those years you still have different people. Like I've still met a few extra people that just jumped in to give it a try, and they got far enough, and at some point during that time I like the idea of kind of go and chat up with people and making new friends in that way. So it adds a personal touch. And to throw one more anecdote on that, 2011, Tom the Iron Man, very active person in the Screw Tech community, was hanging out there in the Rayman room when we were doing that. And after we competed, I ended up sitting next to him and got a chance to get some one-on-one time and just chat. And it ended up creating we had a nice little dialogue. And since then we've been uh, very very friendly with each other. We see each other at Magfest. Definitely say hi there. And then at each of the following Ironman years, I mean, it's nice to be able to get to meet people in that way. And even though you're in that tournament, there's still a very nice little personable, uh, less heated competitive feel to it in some instances,
Right.
which you would kind of lose some of that human touch if you just said, okay, cut these people like invite only type deal, if you will.
No, I get that. I mean, one of the things I do enjoy about Iron Man is, even though it's stressful going into it, it's just the camaraderie that we have, the group that we have, the interaction between all the competitors, even the second day meeting new people and potentially looking at them and saying, "Hey, a couple years, these guys could actually be up here with us," and that's a rewarding feeling for me. Now, looking at your screen, all the people that are in here viewing, there's something very awesome. I see four pinball machines. Not too many people have pinball machines, period, but you have four of them, and you
On that
definitely.
wall.
Yeah, how many do you have?
Right now, I only have seven.
Oh my gosh, he has seven pinball machines. And he does something. This is something you guys should tune in. You should tune into his Twitch, which we have his link there. He does pinball streaming, and he has the actual. I see like the one time you were streaming, you had the one camera on the actual little upper left-hand corner of the thing where they had the paddles up there. You had the overall paddle thing, and you had it on yourself. You definitely should tune into a stream. Pinball is, to me, what used to be one of my favorite things to go to the arcade was to play pinball. Since the arcade started to die down, I feel like pinballs really aren't anywhere too much. I do see them at some bars and restaurants, and I do enjoy playing them. But yeah, definitely tune in. But what is it about pinball that you enjoy that's different from your everyday video game per se?
So yeah, I mean, pinball kind of happened to me more so than anything else. I've always been a big fan of classic arcade machines. It's been a case of growing up. I always wanted to have arcade machines. Growing up, we did have a Miss Pac-Man cocktail table, and when I got old enough, I wanted to have classic arcade machines. I wanted to kind of collect some of my favorites because I love the art and just some of the simple gameplay. I wanted, Frogger, Centipede, Pac-Man, Joust, Robotron, all that stuff. But I never really had the space. And then when it came down to it, and I finally moved in here a few years ago, we had enough space where I could actually start to get some stuff. So I went out and I got a couple arcade machines, and they needed a little bit of fixing up. Got them more or less all fixed up. Still have two of them, and I thought, okay, well, if I'm gonna get arcade machines, I also want to get. I'll throw a pinball machine in there. Why not? Right? So, because I always enjoyed pinball. Never like I played it a lot back in the '90s when I'd go to a arcade back from local to where I was, and like I understood it. There was a particular game that I played, Junkyard, and it was the first one that kind of clicked with me that there's objectives in pinball. It's not just hit flippers, hit ball goes places, get points, whatever, game ends. It became really simple and clear in the way that it was visually that, okay, you're trying to build this vehicle, the jalopy, and you do these things, and then all of a sudden you're making progress, and then you can see yourself getting a little bit better. You're like, man, I can see that this is what I'm trying to accomplish, and much like any game in general, where if you have that nice little incentive and you can see what your objectives are, and then you know that you can get better at it and you can see yourself improving, all of a sudden it becomes more and more appealing. So I always enjoyed that. So I always won one. I got a Elvira and the Party Monsters, Much simpler style game from 1989, I believe. Bally Williams game, and it was decent enough. But then, no more than 2 days later, I ended up buying a second machine, Twilight Zone, and then it became quickly apparent to me that pinball was going to take over versus um, me being able to go the arcade route. And I soon found out once I kind of found a hidden pinball community that exists out there that I'm not the only one like that. It happens to a lot of people. As soon as you dare get into the world of pinball, it grabs you and you get addicted to it. And next thing you know, you're finding new ways to get more and more pinball machines. Most I got up to at a time was 10. I've probably been through at least 20 to 25 pinball machines, if not more.
Wow, you're not selling blood to get pinball machines because you said you're trying to do everything you can to get more.
No, I mean, the thing is, like, you think you don't have enough space to fit another one, but then you're like, oh man, there's a good deal on a pinball machine. We can make it work. I'll just slide that over. We can get that in there, no problem.
Get rid of the
Yeah,
couches.
exactly. Their furniture starts to change to accommodate this new hobby, and then at the same time, you can't. And much like any an arcade game, even you can't really get into it without knowing that you're going to have to be able to work on them. But with pinball machines, they're a bit more intimidating because there's obviously so many things going on with them. But it isn't as bad as what it would seem. Once you get familiar with it, and it takes time, it helps if you can know someone that's also into it so they can help you. And I've done that for other people. So I've passed on the infection to at least a handful of people who have now gone on to enjoy the same addiction. Um, but once you kind of, it's like anything. If you build a model of something, or if you work on something, you kind of start to understand it more, and it becomes more personal to you. You own it a little bit more, if you will. Um, so they become a little bit of showpieces slash things that are fun. And once you kind of start to do better playing, which takes time, and then you start to see, like, for instance, rhythm gaming. I tend to think of that as a really good example. And I know you've played your fair share of rhythm games. Uh, it's the type of genre where it takes a good amount of time before you can really push your skill level. And then it's not really until you step away, you walk away for a while, and then you come back, that you can actually see yourself getting better. And as soon as you, uh, like, say you stop and you look back 6 months ago to where you were, you're like, man, I never thought I'd be that good at that, 6 months ago. It's kind of like when anybody started out with Guitar Hero or Rock Band, wherever you were, and then if you get to expert level at some point, you're like, man, I can't believe I used to play on medium all the time. uh, it, but it works that way with pinball too, where you have that nice gradual improvement, and it carries over between all machines because there's a skill set you have. But all machines are also different, so it's just like a video game in that sense, that the skill set's there, but you work it different ways on different machines, so you end up finding more machines that you can like. So it's not just like owning one machine tends to ever be enough to satisfy someone who gets into the hobby. So next thing you know, you end up with a room full of them. You work on them, you get them, you sell them, you trade them. One thing that's really helped is that, whether you realize it or not, over the last 6+ years or so, pinball went from a real kind of obscure, no one really cared, you could buy them cheap, to going up in price and tripling or more in price. So at the time, especially when you got into it, you could buy a machine, and unlike anything else, unless it's like gold or silver, just sitting on it and holding it is probably one of the best investments you could make. And you could double your money just by having it in your home and playing it. And then you go around and sell it or trade it, and all of a sudden you make twice as much money off of it as when you bought it. So it was a nice thing. It's much better than how my car tends to devalue every minute I own it versus pinball machine or any kind of technology for that matter.
Yeah,
I mean,
everything's value goes
most
up
video
and down.
games you buy it for 60 or whatever, and it's not like you're getting that money back,
Nope,
unless for some reason it gets rare and you get lucky.
that's very
But
true.
but you can kind of coordinate that with the way that more retro gaming is now, where even like the Super Nintendo and 64 Nintendo stuff has gone up in price, and it's starting to actually have its own type of value system and economy to it. But yeah, I digress. That was
All
for
right,
another short
so
explanation.
we have one person that's asking about. Do you know the Roman Atwood's pinball machine?
Roman Atwood's pinball machine. Uh, is that that does not ring a bell with me? Is that like a person's name? 75th edition. Any more details on that would be helpful. Otherwise, I'm sure I could figure it out within a few moments, but not off the top of my head.
Yeah. If anyone's wondering, like, I'm where my webcam is placed, I'm actually like focused on what Mike is saying. I'm like looking at his little square on my monitor, but it's away from where my webcam is, so it looks like my eyes are just like looking into a random space in Earth or in the world. But no, I am looking at Mike. So we're gonna move forward, and we are going to play the game that we want to play. It's a game I think we both enjoy. It's an old school arcade classic per se. Asteroids, shmup, all combined into one. I don't know how this is gonna work. I forget which one we played before, but let's,
Summoner would be the game type. Yeah.
oh, he said you own it. The pinball machine is Wizard of Oz.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I know. I know Wizard of Oz. I do not own one, but I have played. I've played it quite a bit.
So are you going to invite me, or do you want me to invite you?
Let's see here. Xbox Live. I can invite you.
Yeah, it's easier if you invite me, so I don't have to play around.
Private Summoner.
So Geometry Wars, it came out on the Xbox 360. They made two for that, and then they made this third one here for the Xbox One, which they added multiplayer. It's not very. I don't think it was very good, but it's something, right? I would like to go through the whole game together with someone. That would be really cool and fun.
Here we go.
Have you done any of the backwards compatibility with the Xbox One yet, Mike, or no?
I have not. I mean, I still have like I have a horribly giant collection of video game systems, so it has not become necessary for me to use it. Since I've got like a 360 sitting right next to it and an original Xbox sitting right next to that. All right, where are you at?
Where am I
Look.
at? He
Oh, there
I
we
say
go.
he took me
It's
off
not.
the friends list. He took me off his friends
Nah,
list.
it's terrible because well, it says you're offline.
Oh, yeah, I might be hiding from someone.
That's why you weren't like sitting at the top. All right, send an invite. Did you get anything?
Uh, 1 second here. No, I didn't. Oh, there we
Oh,
go.
there you
Wow,
go.
that took a long. That's a serious delay. All right,
Yeah.
so I'm gonna switch the thing here. I think this is what the one we need. All right, so which mode are we playing?
Summoner, which basically means it's more fair. Uh, Jumping on red team so you can go gold team.
Oh man, head to head. What's the objective so you don't get an edge on me here?
I don't know. Whoever gets the most points wins. Oh, shoot towers to take control of them. So basically, like a domination type game type.
Okay. Oh, we could actually had other people play with us, but too late. Haha.
Let's see. Reduce timer. There we go.
Here we go. Geometry Wars, people.
Just 25 more seconds.
I get to go against the champ. Shrug it off.
Okay. 15. I mean, does it really need to be 30 seconds if I hit reduce timer? Come on.
Well, they don't want unfair teams. They don't want you to bring in a 3-on-1. That would be unfair.
Maybe. Depends who it is. All right, let's see.
Can we kill each other or no?
I do not know. Maybe.
Mixer tuna. Oh. Look at me go, look at me go. Oh my gosh. If you die, does that suck? Are you even shooting?
Am I shooting? Yeah, I'm shooting the towers.
Yeah, but
Can not
how do
see
you have
my
18
bullets?
times?
Because I'm...
Not dying. Oh, you're grabbing. I forgot you have to grab the little green majiggas.
Is that the official term? If there was an instruction booklet, that's how it would be written.
Yeah, if I wrote the instruction booklet, that's what I would call it. Look at this mad point. Now, my favorite thing about shmups and everything, old school games like Ikaruga, Power Stone, or not Power Stone, I forget what it was called, but are mad dodging skills. It looks like a situation that there's no escape from, and you pull it out.
So I cannot see your bullets, by the way. You cannot see mine.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. I'm like, dude, I don't think that's why I said that you're not shooting. It's probably just stop lag.
That you can't see what I'm shooting at in case I'm trying to shoot at one of your towers. Also, it'd just be in the way.
Ah, I was doing so well, and then the stupid thing jerked me. Time is going down. Looks like you're playing a little bit too much pinball.
A little bit. This isn't like a one-shot here. This has got to be a best of.
Or no, it's not going to end just like that, but... I'll see you, Padme. Thanks for stopping in.
Survivor. Alright.
Alright. Yay, I won the first. We'll play best 3 out of 5.
There you go.
Whew. You know what? He's goading me. He's playing with my mind here. He's making me think that I'm dominating, and then he's just going to come in and stomp me.
It's not impossible. I like your secondary layout there. That's good.
Oh, thank you. I'm trying to get better. It's a slow process, especially since I don't have the time to dedicate to it. Like, if I streamed every day, I would be on top of things, but it's once a week. Although, we started another stream on Friday night, so it's going to be twice a week now.
Nice.
Oh, come on. It's exciting playing games. Wait, oh, it's a different layout this time.
There you go.
Alright, this will be interesting here. One of my favorite things about Geometry Wars is the leaderboard and trying to beat your friends on the leaderboard.
Mini leaderboards are awesome and something that needs to be adopted more commonly. Which I don't know. I know you're playing it at least a little, but Just Cause 3 has implemented mini leaderboards as well, which is kind of nice.
I only played that on PS4.
That's what I'm playing it on.
Oh, all right.
So I get the little, Jamal is, Agdal died further than you, or jump from a plane from a larger height, which is pretty sweet.
How do you determine what system to play a game on that comes out on both systems, multiple systems?
It became very easy when my Xbox stopped wanting to read discs very easily.
All right.
The PS4 has now taken over as the physical media decider, except for Rock Band, since that's where all my audio tracks are located.
That's where I thought Rock Band was going to take off and help Xbox One, because I know a lot of people used to play that on the 360. And
Although they're finally getting their act together with the good update content. Set lists are due for next year.
Oh my gosh, it's due for... Yeah, that's one thing that I find problematic with all the new age games is, like, it's acceptable to bring out a game that's not totally functioning properly. You're paying $60 for something, and it might not technically work the way they envisioned it to work. Good night, Kano. Thanks for stopping in. I know you got to work early in the morning. All right, it's tied 1-1.
Killer. Who are you killing?
I probably killed more of the monsters than you did, but you got the. I wonder how did the towers work? Do you think?
I don't know. I don't know if they're multipliers or more points because I can't like hit them and like check everything else. So your guess is as good as mine. Maybe somebody in the chat can fill in since they get to watch the actual gameplay and not have to worry about staying alive.
Staying alive, staying alive.
You're gonna get flagged if you keep that up.
Oh really? Oh.
No, I don't know. Probably.
No, they don't. They don't pay attention to my channel.
only if your singing was good enough, you know.
Oh, thank you. I would always like every single year they do Iron Man of Gaming. I always hope for Geometry Wars as one of the first day score-based games. That would make me very excited.
Make a good one.
Oh my gosh, I sucked already.
Nerve-wracking too.
Yes, because no matter how good you are, there's just that randomness factor. Huh, these stupid green things. I hate these weird shaped stages. We're both fighting for that same spot.
That's right.
That prime real estate. Dang it. I'm so focused on these stupid towers, I can't keep myself alive.
I know, I don't even know what the towers are doing for me.
But it's there, so you might as well shoot it.
Gotta shoot it, because it's gotta be good, right?
Right. And I keep hitting my R trigger to try to do a mega bomb, but obviously mega bombs don't work. Dang it, every single time I'm shooting a stupid tower, I'm not shooting an enemy and then I die.
Exactly, they're sneaking up on you.
This is a bad layout because it's so hard to see where they're coming from.
The peanut level is always up.
The peanut. That's a perfect name for this. The peanut.
It is.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, yeah.
Ah! Mad dodging skills put to the test here. This is a game that Chris Gold could never be good at.
This is the type of game that'll either rage quit you or destroy your thumbs.
Rage quit. Wow. Look at me pulling through there.
Significant.
Dominating. I'm 1 win away.
Yet I've still got 1,000 more points overall.
Aw, he's going to pull that card on me.
No, certainly not. Wins, losses. Wins, losses.
Alright. Look at this guy.
Because, I don't know how the points work. It's got to be, those towers got to have some influence, right?
They definitely do.
So, what was your favorite game that you've played in Iron Man? Like, as far as the rules behind whatever game they created. Like, for me, I'll throw up Bubsy as one of my top favorites just because I felt it was very creative.
See, other than like games that I used to play back in the past, like one of my favorite games of all time is F-Zero, but I want to say I enjoyed the Pac-Man. I know what, I actually enjoyed like a lot of the older games like Sonic. Okay, there's no enemies coming because we haven't taken over any bases. What is my... I want to say maybe Dig Dug. I think any old school game that I find a new respect for, because I never ever competed in it or never put the time and effort to get better at it, it gave me a greater appreciation for some of these older games, to actually dig in and find strategies where before, back when I was younger, I just kind of wanted to beat the games or set high scores, but I never really tried to get tactically get better at them.
Right.
And I think Dig Dug was probably one of my favorite games to play. That I mean, I played Dig Dug before, but I'd never actually play Dig Dug. I just
Right.
So yeah, I have to say Dig Dug. But going in, my favorite game was F-Zero. Like, I was so excited that we had F-Zero, and then I hit the wall, and it bounced in a horrible way. There was no recovering from that. But yeah, how about you? What was your favorite one?
I mean, I was obviously most excited for Pac-Man, but probably the gem is Bubsy. A close second, unexpected, would have been possibly Shovel Knight. Any of the games where you have no choice but to have to dissect it in a way that it was never intended to be thought about. I mean, obviously the Shovel Knight one was intended that way, but still, you had to really take it down to figuring out how every second was going to be spent. Well done there. In Bubsy, I mean, clearly no one's going to have a YouTube video for that one that you can just tune into and be like, ah, yes, that's how you score big in the first level of Bubsy.
No, that's definitely true. One of the surprise games to me for me, and I had the most fun practicing, was that one game where you had the little sword, like the fencing game. What was that called?
That was Nidhogg.
Nidhogg, dude. That game was so much fun, and but yeah, I did enjoy Shovel Knight. I enjoy dissecting games and figuring out and practicing. As much frustration as it is and the time you have to put in, it gives you a greater appreciation of how great these games were.
Yes.
And these were built back in the day. So any game like Shovel Knight, even though it's a newer game, they put a lot of time and effort into making sure these levels have a lot of depth. It gives you, I always tell people that what makes Sonic a great game is it's accessible to people that are just average at games. And then to people that want a challenge, you can get the emeralds, you can get the faster speed runs and the higher scores. And that's what makes a game to me great. It's open to any skill level, or any type of person can challenge themselves. It frustrates me when I work at a game store and people bring a game back and they say, oh, it's too easy. I'm like, well, what level did you beat it on? Did you put it on normal? And why didn't you go on hard? You've beaten the previous game, so obviously you've gotten better as a gamer.
Right.
So you need to increase the difficulty level. I try to play all the Call of Duty games on veteran. Of course, if I play on normal, it's easy because I'm so much better than I used to be back in the day.
Now, what about if you had to pick a game that you felt you made the most progress on from not playing previously to how you did, where you were at tournament day?
Tony Hawk.
Tony Hawk?
I've always just never ever wanted to play that game, and I've been forced multiple times to somewhat play it, but I just learned it for that. It's kind of like studying for that Spanish quiz. I learned just enough to get past the quiz, and then afterwards the quiz is over with, I just forgot it all. And that's what Tony Hawk has always been for me. And I feel like from where I was to how I could do at the tournament and my potential high score, I was very proud of that.
Nice.
Was there any game like that for you?
Tetris Attack.
Oh my god, don't bring that up.
A Tetris Attack is a game that I always knew I was never... It was kind of like a fighting game in a sense. And that I'm well aware of the huge gradient of skill levels. If you're said good at Tetris Attack, you will not lose to someone who is outside of that range of skill level. Just straight up. If you... Same as a fighting game. Like, you're not going to accidentally beat someone who's that much better at you at a fighting game if they're really playing. Same with Tetris Attack. And I always knew I was really much further down, and it really comes down to knowing how to, and getting a recognition for how to actually see the blocks. And that's not something that you can just pick up without time and skill of just experience. And I put a lot of effort into really trying to be better at it. I spent a lot of time playing with my girl on that, and that was very helpful. But I also recruited a friend of a friend who's a very high level player, like the type of player you would go look up a video of Tetris Attack, and they would be the person playing at the extra high skill level that you're like, wow, that doesn't even make sense.
That's beautiful.
But having him just completely destroy me that often was what pushed it kind of over the edge as far as me being able to get better.
Right. You need someone that actually knows what they're doing to make you better. You're only going to take yourself so far because you're not going to think outside the box in a way that someone else that's already discovered something will possibly do for you.
No,
But
exactly.
this is going to be our last match, and we're going to wind down the show afterwards. But I definitely thank you for coming on. This has been a wonderful episode.
No technical difficulties.
Well, there was a brief one. I had my delay on, but because this happened previously before, I was able to fix it instantaneously.
Perfect.
Yeah, but no, this has been a great episode. I hope everyone that tuned in enjoyed and got to find out a little bit more about what it takes to be a true Iron Man gaming competitor, because Mike is a consummate professional. He talks a little bit of trash, but he keeps it even kill most of the time. It's more so when the excitement level is so high that he gets those bursts out, those outbursts. And there's nothing wrong with that, because when you put that much time and dedication into something, you definitely deserve to be heard.
It's not often. I like to, once in a while, I'll fire off some gems. I do believe I called you the garbage man at one point in time.
The garbage never leaves a dump. That's all I gotta say. No. That's great.
So I think after playing a few rounds of this, I figured out that more or less, the posts, commanding the posts allows you to actually get enemies to kill.
Right. All right. So I'm gonna back out of here.
Well, then I've been thoroughly dominated there.
So I beat Mike at something now. All right. So since we're gonna wind down and we're actually quitting here, the game per se, is there anything else that you'd like to talk about before we end the show?
I mean, I'm sure I could come up with plenty of questions and/or things to talk about. Do you have any personal, and maybe you've already been asked this and I missed it, so I'll ask it two ways. Do you have any personal favorite Iron Man related moments that are Jamal based, and do you have any favorite and/or least favorite, however you want to end up displaying it, moments where it had to do with interaction between you and myself, and/or favorite Mike specific only moments that it doesn't necessarily have to do with Jamal?
All right. Well,
One of each.
I'll nail them out real quick. The first one, obviously, for me was the year that I won, and what was super important for me that year was I had already participated in Iron Man Gaming. This was, I feel like, the third year that there was an Iron Man Gaming, and this was right after I got off Ultimate Gamer. So I didn't win Ultimate Gamer, and I said, know what? I actually was in this house. I got to be focused in gaming, and then my mind was all on gaming. It wasn't like the transition from work to practice. It was literally from the house, nonstop gaming, coming home, practicing for Iron Man, and then going and competing, and I actually won. So that was my most memorable, favorite moment for myself. My most negative moment for myself was the year afterwards in Ikaruga. I put a decent amount of time in. I was really good, but I messed up, and it really made me realize the flaw in my practice strategy. Anytime I messed up when I practiced, I would always just stop and reset, as opposed to just trying to figure it out in case something like that happened. So every time I go into Ironman, if I don't have a perfect run, I was at a loss, and that you don't want that. And then finally, my favorite moment with you was obviously the year that you won, the second year that you won, the emotion that you displayed on the stage. It just really saved Ironman, and I think to this day they realize the potential that that tournament has, and I think there will be another Ironman, and it probably goes back to not just the competitors, but more so that moment that you had on the stage. And I think the way to encompass all that would be is you have to either have just a solo event of Ironman, or you have to have a way so that all of us competitors are known, and it's not just the final day on the stage, and people don't really know how close we are, what is actually going on. So to me, those are my moments and my saying. So, but everyone, thank you for tuning in. It was a wonderful show. You definitely do not want to miss next week. I have a lovable, huggable guest. His name is Angel, the director of Awesome. It's going to be a special episode. It's our Christmas episode. So have you ever seen Oprah Winfrey when she has her giveaway? We're going to be giving away games. We're going to be giving away prize packages. And all you got to do is tune in and win. So definitely next Tuesday, what is today's date? The 22nd, starting at 10 p.m. Eastern. Do not be late. And then after that, the next week, the 29th, we're going to hopefully have a bunch of Ironman gaming competitors back on to compete on Night Squad. So I appreciate everyone tuning in, and I'm going to say bye. Does Mike want to say bye to everyone?
I want to say goodbye with a quick shout out to Proton John in the chat there. Another very fine Ironman competitor who got the taste for what it could be and put in the effort and came back in 2014 to make a competitor out of himself.
Yeah,
outside of being the Tetris guy.
I definitely have to get Proton John on here. It's very tough trying to get people. I'm trying to get like themes for each month and everything, and I'm just trying to go down. This has kind of been the champion month, and but eventually, maybe sometime next year, we'll get you on. Thank you for tuning in. You had to come and see the champ, the back-to-back-to-back champion. But good night, everyone. Thank you, and tune in again next week at 10 p.m. Eastern on the 22nd, so you can win some free games and prizes. Let me see here.